From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now, here's Hotline editor, John Mercurio.
I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm John Mercurio. You're watching Hotline TV. Amy, John McCain has reportedly handed off day-to-day negotiations on immigration reform to his Senate staff. Some say his absence from these negotiations is hurting efforts to reach a compromise. Amy Walter, is this a deliberate effort on McCain's part to abandon immigration? And when, if ever, are we going to see a compromise bill?
Okay, so that's two big questions.
It's huge questions.
Because you know what, it's a very
simple
issue, as you noted yesterday. I mean, it's really not that hard.
No, it's just immigration.
You just sit in a room and you just kind of hand it out and move on over.
Put up a fence.
You know, the reality, though, to me, it seems that John McCain has already, his relationship with conservatives, it's already a done deal. Like, he's not going to suddenly become a darling of conservatives because he's no longer on a bill with Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, calling for an immigration reform that conservatives see as amnesty. It's already, if you are conservative, you already feel like you can't trust John McCain on this issue. So really it does him very little good. I think the reality is the day-to-day work and the push on this is taking a backseat to his focus on Iraq, just like everything in Congress is taking a backseat to Iraq. Nothing else is getting done, and we've been talking about this for some time, but for Democrats, the real concern is, you know, we have the constant back and forth between the veto and the putting it back into his camp, and what is the bill going to look like that they send to the president, and what we're going to end up seeing is that absolutely nothing else gets done in Congress, and if this war is on the back burner in 2008, what else are we going to talk about?
Democrats are in big trouble.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, you know, I never really fully get the wisdom or the strategy that goes into people like McCain who are really strongly out there on an issue in an off-year election, an off-election year in '06, which was actually, I guess, an election year, but not a presidential year. They put their name on a bill that they think might be controversial or politically dangerous for them. And then when they're actually in the process of running in the campaign, they back themselves off just slightly. I mean, if people, McCain is having problems in the 2008 presidential election because of things that started in 2000 when he ran against George Bush and he called Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell the two forces of evil. You know, I mean, he's still apologizing for that among some in the religious right.
And campaign finance reform. And
the Gang of 14 on the judicial nominations, all of which took place several years ago. So the strategy that goes into, you know, whatever the McCain strategy is, in sort of like trying to take a lower profile on this issue and potentially endangering the possibility of reform.
Of actually getting something that has your name on it that is going to be
I think
significant.
Is slightly weak, is very weak need. But I think you're right. I think the bigger point is that the Democrats really sort of need this as much as Bush needs this. But I think the problem for Bush, I mean, the problem is not the Democrats. The Democrats, I think, have the votes. It's Bush not being able to get, you know, the 20 senators that he needs, or the 17 senators and the, you know, the 40 Republican House members on board. Those 40 Republican House members aren't going to go with a president who has a 28% approval rating.
Well, I think Democrats are actually also in a very difficult predicament, and because the focus is so much on Republicans, you don't hear them talking about it that much, but there are a whole bunch of Democrats who feel like they lost House seats last cycle because of the issue of immigration, that Republicans were effectively able to make Democrats look weak, not on the issue necessarily of security.
Democrats didn't lose House seats last cycle.
No, but I mean, they lost races. They didn't lose their own incumbents, but in terms of the challenger candidates, who they were able to paint as soft on immigration, really on the tax issue, you know, Social Security for immigrants, amnesty for immigrants, illegal immigrants, that they also want to make sure that their conservative Democrats find a way to vote that will help take that issue off the table in 2008. Again, if we assume that Iraq, even if it's still on the table, that immigration is going to be somewhere in the mix.
Yeah, that's true. Although Nancy Pelosi's done a pretty effective job, I think. Although I think you're right, the Nancy Boydas and the, you know, the Heath Shirleys have a tough time. All right.
We're out of time. Today, as always, thanks for watching Hotline TV.